Good morning, Stefano.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I got this great shirt on, so I just want to make
That's
this great.
incredible. Fantastic. What a nice surprise. Thank you very much.
Yes, this is fantastic fitness professional gave it to me a few years ago, and I hung on to it. Oh, I think you know him pretty well.
Yeah. It was me.
I'm trying to get it where you can see in the.
Thank you very much, Mark. Nice, a surprise for me. And thank you very much for accepting my interview. It was nice. We know that we time to time we listen each other. Some time to time I ask you something about what's going on in USA, and but I thought that especially in these times of many calls and many video calls, could be interesting also to put on screen and record what are our comments, and because we are both expert in fitness industry, and so could be nice also for the for the audience in our industry, but not only to listen what is our opinion, because our opinion of course is based on experience, not only about the knowledge, but above all also many years. Because me and you, we are in this industry at least 25 years at least.
Yes.
So, as a start, I would like to introduce you. Mark Myers is is a fitness expert, and he managed many top locations, fitness club in US, from the east to the west coast. I know him in 2000 when you were managing the Equinox Club in, I remember, East Side, a nice club at the time. And then I remember you traveled and you transferred yourself in the West Coast, in Los Angeles, and also in other locations. And now you are, of course, entrepreneur. And you launched a new project, MyBodyFatScan. We'll discuss later about. I'm very curious also to understand from you what is going on, what is exactly this project. And now Mark is settled in Jacksonville, which is in Florida, right, Mark?
Yes, northeast Florida, Jacksonville, Florida.
It was correct, my introduction?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
It was correct, my introduction of yourself?
It was perfect. Absolutely. I was just, the experience sometimes is a good thing, but when you start adding up the years, it starts to show my age. So.
Yes, we started very early, so we still
That's
are
right.
young.
That's right. Very young.
So, the question, when we listen each other by the phone or by mails, of course, the typical question in these times where what's going on now during this year of pandemic. We are still going out from the tunnel, and so the question quick is how is going, for example, in your city, in your part of USA, because I know that it's different from state to state. How is the situation right now, Mark?
Very good question, Stefano. As you mentioned, each area or region of the United States, and every state has a little bit different application of how they're handling COVID-19 restrictions. Fortunately for the fitness world in Florida, and also for the restaurants, etc., Florida has been much less
impacted,
much less restrictive. Now, they did obviously have to close down for a number of weeks, yet they were able to get back open at a percentage capacity. So I believe they started at 25% capacity, then 50% capacity. And I believe that they are up to 100% capacity now in club companies, as long as they're following the social distancing. So as you know, that's been an impact across the board. Some of our larger clubs, if you look at the larger club companies that I've worked for, they're mostly in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and they've been significantly impacted because they haven't been able to open up at all. And as you know as well, it's in fitness, particularly in the cardiovascular areas, everyone is very close together. And of course, the energy that is part of the allure to exercise in a club setting is being in a group, being motivated by others around you. So even the group fitness classes have been impacted because of the lower percentage of people in the class.
Yes,
But I would
sure.
say in Florida, it has been a little nicer, so to speak, to the club owners. But other states have not, it's not been as easy.
Yeah, because I remember I had I have a friend of mine which he managed a club, a fitness club in Miami. I remember he was Miami. It was the gym fitness the club were closed in the first lockdown. Before the summer. But now I have a friend also that he's living in this moment in Florida. He's telling me that the gym are open, of course, with the mask, with the distance, with that kind of protocols that we also in Italy and Europe used the last May when we started to reopen again. For example, you mentioned the cardiovascular area. Like every club in the world, we make one machine on, one machine off, just for keeping the distance, all that kind of strategies and protocols, like a cleaning before and after the usage. But actually, for example, here in Italy and like in other country of Europe, fitness, gyms and pools are still closed because we are waiting a little bit. The situation will be better, but of course, fortunately, it's starting to be like the last year when we arrived near to the summer. The numbers of the situation is going better, and fortunately, it started the process of a vaccination. I guess also in your country, right, Mark?
Yes, correct.
And for example, talking about that, a question that could come in my mind is how is, for example, the process of a vaccination is planned there? Because, for example, in Italy, we are starting with the first responder, like medics and police and military, and especially people from beyond 70 years old.
It's exactly the same here, Stefano. Exactly the same. And of course, there's a limited supply, but they are distributing the same way: first responders and those that are in need, hospital workers, healthcare workers, and then of course those that are elderly that might have more susceptibility to.
But the process is done mostly in the hospital, or you are organizing like using some special places, like for example stadium, schools, for creating vaccination sites.
Yes, that's currently being done. Exactly.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to always be in a hospital or a clinical setting. It can be in a site that was constructed for the day or the week.
Because I've heard that in some part of the United States they use like a stadium.
Yes, absolutely. They're really allocating different public spaces that are known by and easily accessible. I've seen them actually do it in churches as well.
And also they use also like some outdoor spaces, like in the drive-in area.
Yes, drive-through.
It's cool because we used that for making the test. not yet for making the vaccination. But for sure is a good idea. Is I mean is a good idea for accelerating at the maximum the process, because as we know, we are all aware, all aware that first we will be end this process of vaccination, and first we will reopen the economy, and the spaces like a cinema theater, movie theater, library, public spaces, not only the gyms and the pool, the swimming pool, the health club.
Right. There's a significant amount of business that has been affected, but as we know, the fitness business has been one of the businesses that has been the most significantly affected, just because of the nature of our work. It is generally fairly close quarters with the strength equipment, cardiovascular equipment, the types of classes we teach. And unfortunately, as you know, and this doesn't play a role into your club, your clubs, and your atmospheres that you work in, because they're very high end, and mine as well. We keep our clubs pristine. We keep our clubs ridiculously clean. So we've always had that notoriety for that. But unfortunately, in general, the fitness industry doesn't have the notoriety for having ultra clean facilities. So at least we have the advantage there at the club companies we work for, because that's always been a focus from the beginning.
Yeah, but in a certain way, from the first lockdown, for sure, we put in place some new rules, very important, that will be used also in the, for the future. Talking about cleaning and, layout of the spaces in order to keep the right distance now, because before there was not so much regulation. We were focused to increase the members, and then of course to have sometimes the rooms very full.
That's right.
As you know. Another question that I would like to ask you, and to understand how it's going on there, and your feeling is, for example, with this lockdown, of course, and you managed a lot of trainers, in the past, so you know very well this kind of situation. As being closed the gym, of course, the trainers, especially the freelance trainers, personal trainer, has to adapt, because to find, how they could train their clients. And the answer is pretty clear, because we understood that the digital became so much important, especially also in this field, of the training. Many trainers were obliged to switch in the digital, and to understand very fast how to be able to train their client to digital. It was happening also in Florida, or among your friends that are maybe still on the training.
Absolutely. It's been a reinvention of their professional focus. And I've seen it across the board, Stefano, especially in Florida. And I've seen a lot of my colleagues have to make this transition. And it's interesting because back in 2007, 2008, I started working on a project that I eventually set on the shelf, which was essentially a virtual type training fitness atmosphere. And since then, there's been some companies that have moved forward and created some unique platforms, but never before the last year have they been moved to the forefront. So now trainers have had to reinvent themselves, because they couldn't go to the club. They couldn't meet their clients. So how are they going to earn income? And I would say that this is going to be an unfortunate outcome of this pandemic, or this occurrence that's happened across the globe, is that a lot of trainers may not go back to the clubs. Some of them have learned to adapt, and now if they're understanding how to navigate the virtual world, they may not go back to the club. So I think that's something that club companies should really look at and really learn to say, hey, our trainers should be not only physical in-person trainers, they should also have the capacity to be virtual from our facility, right?
Yeah,
Or within our club. So now we're not limiting our trainers to only being in-person trainers working for us. Now they can also work virtually for us as well, which makes a lot of sense because club companies service a lot of members that need additional help. And a lot of your members, I would imagine, travel. So when they're traveling, what better to have their trainer with them when they're on a travel. So
absolutely, absolutely. And of course, I'm totally agree with you, and I think that this new opportunity, these new tools of the digital will remain even when the pandemic will finish. I think that it is something that will remain in the asset of a health club, in the sense that they will offer, of course, as usual, physical classes. I mean, gym, but for be competitive, they have to at the same time to offer a digital planning. I mean, the opportunity also to be trained not only I mean following a group class, which is easy, but only the I mean for me, you mentioned that you made an example of the people that travel. Maybe could be very nice that a member of a club, for example, my club, could go to the app of the club and select the personal training and the day, and then like now that we are doing our interview, we make an appointment and we see each other and we can train. I think it will be for sure the future. I mean, and in the end, this tool is something that is adding from the previous system. I don't know
I
if
agree.
I explain very my concept.
No, absolutely. I agree. I think it was a forced moving forward in application of fitness. And I think other industries had to do the same. If you think about the insurance industry, it's a very old industry. It's been around for hundreds, actually thousands of years, but hundreds of years in the state that it's in. And even in the insurance industry, that required in a lot of cases their producers or their insurance agents to go meet with their clients in person to get the signatures and do the
Absolutely. Yeah,
paperwork.
yeah, yeah.
They've said, you know what, we're going to lighten up on those restrictions. We're going to move to the 21st century, and we're going to allow our agents to do, insurance meetings or pre-meetings online. So I think the fitness industry had to make that jump as well. And trainers also had to become more savvy on how they coach, because remember, when you lose being with them, you lose the ability to have the tactile, like to touch their lower back or to bring their
Absolutely. Yeah,
shoulders
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
So you really have to learn how to communicate with them through the digital to make sure that
Yeah, because you have to be very, very, very expert also into to give direction without touching. I mean, that is an ability. It's not easy to understand very quickly. And of course, the practice, as you know, improve.
very
If you practice,
so
if you
true.
practice, you will improve for sure. But in my opinion, and what is your opinion? When I mean, you already in a stage of advanced compare as in Italy, but when there will be a full reopening of the fitness club, do you think that the people uh, will I mean come and run again back to the fitness club and join I mean physically the clubs?
That's a really good question, Stefano. I do have a thought and a opinion on that. And again, it's my professional opinion. It might not be 100% accurate, but I feel that every club in America, the United States, is going to have to reinvent themselves. I think that they've lost probably 30% of their membership base. I really do. I think that there's at least 30%, 30% that will never return. I also believe that it's going to be harder to acquire new members even once everything opens back up, because people still have a somewhat of a fear factor. So it's really going to force clubs to be a little leaner and meaner, right? So maybe the larger companies that had these big boxes where they have these huge spaces, um, they may have to learn how to adjust because their volume of because when we looked at in the club companies, we're always looking at usage per day. How many members checked in and used our club today?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when you start seeing that number go down and you have a lot of square footage that you're paying rent on, or you're,
Yeah, yeah,
you're hopefully a
yeah,
mortgage
yeah,
on,
yeah, sure.
you have to optimize. So I think that that's going to be a solution that the larger companies are going to have to face. And I think the smaller, little more boutique, they're going to be in a little bit better space, right? Because now people are, uh, I think that they're going to be able to navigate that a little bit better because of their just less people in general, and a lot of people really know each other really well that go to these boutique fitness locations. So they're maybe not as apprehensive because they know 60 or 70% of the people there when they go, because it's very quaint, as opposed to maybe they only know 5% of the people if they go consistently in a large fitness club.
Yes, I am agree, but in the same time, I am the positive convincement that because I saw the same story was happening the last I mean before the summer when we reopened after the first lockdown. I mean, we as the things that were going well. I mean, I see the people needs to come back to have I mean sociality. They were very angry of coming back to the experience because they cannot stand anymore to be alone and depressed in the house. Of course, they reinvented themselves. They try to stay fit. I mean, to use the only tools that they had. So the digital. I mean, and many people bought fitness equipment for training themselves in the house. But in the end, in my opinion, there is a great desire to come out
Yes.
to meet again with the people. Because I saw also here in when they reopened the restaurants in the lunch. I mean, or for example, I mean, when there is the weekend, everybody wants to go out, at least to have the flavor, the taste, and the pleasure to sit down in a table outside and having a coffee. I mean, it seems to come back in vacation. I mean,
Yes.
that kind of feeling, I think, will be very strong. And like the CEO of the Techno Gym, that in his interview, Nerio Alessandri, and I was agree, and I am agree with him. He said that the physical experience that you can live in a fitness club is something that you cannot avoid. I mean, people will want to have that kind of experience. He made a very nice example. For example, we sometimes go out in restaurant. We usually eat have lunch and dinner at home every day, but time to time we like to go outside to the restaurant because we like that kind of experience of sociality. The same will be with the gym. I mean, of course, we can train alone, but we can wait to go and to have that extraordinary experience going and meeting people. And of course, there are some advantages that the gym club can offer, like spaces. I mean, a lot of equipment. I mean, because that is something that we forgot a little bit, but it's very important. It's something that the people like to come back to that kind of experience.
I 100% agree with you, Stefano. I mean, you can't remove, even though you can expand into the digital application and work with people in their homes through the computer, you can never take away that personal element and just the fact of the energy that's created when you have warmth and you have bodies and you have people moving around you. You can't replace that energy through the computer, and also the toys. There's so many toys, there's so many phenomenal pieces of equipment. I mean, millions of dollars of equipment that are at the fingertips of the customer or the client or the member when they step into that club. And you know that, working with the club companies that you work with, I mean, just you can never reproduce that. That's so much value for people to go into the club and experience.
In fact, and this is a good, I mean, perspective for us, because I am positive that the experience of the health club will come back very, very soon, and of course there will be more option in the market. It's like I'm having my own gym. I always desired to have my own gym in my house, like a room dedicated. But if I have that kind of room, I will go back anyway in the gym, because I like that experience. It motivates me.
No doubt, no doubt, absolutely. I'm the same way. Those are great for efficiency, time efficiency. Maybe if the weather is horrible or something like this is happening. But generally speaking, when you want the best workout and the most adaptive workouts, you're going to go to the club. You're going to go to the gym.
Yeah, it's like a smart working. Of course, you can stay 8 hours in your house on the computer, but in the end, when you finish, you still are in the house. I mean, in my opinion, it's not so much healthy for the mind and for the spirit, because I mean, changing also environment and moving is also good for the, I mean, recharge of the mind and of the soul.
Absolutely, 100%.
Cool, and I'm happy that you are in the same tune. And another question that, of course, you live in Florida. Mostly of the year, you have a pleasant weather. We are in the north of Italy, we are still in the winter, and but I'm sure that after this situation, I mean, the reopen. I mean, what I want to say is that the outdoor training is becoming very, very popular now, especially here in Italy. But because why? Because at the moment you can train only outdoors. But in my opinion, will be for sure the trend of the next spring summer, and there will be something that will remain. I mean, is like the spinning. I mean, it was not only a trend. It's something that will remain in the habits of a fitness club. I mean, a must that you have to have in a club.
Absolutely. The trend to go to more functional training, the trend to go to more outdoor based training, less equipment. When we say equipment, we think traditional. You know, we think the weight stack. You know, you adjust the weight and you adjust and you push or you squat, or maybe a cable piece of equipment. Now we're looking at medicine balls and kettlebells and battle ropes and jungle gyms. I think that will always be, and this is definitively because your movement types are much more applicable to general life, right? So when in general life do you sit down and you press something very heavy off of your chest? Very rarely, but you do move and you grab and you throw and you pull and you. So I think that it's really attractive because it's fun, but it's also attractive because it really does help your body move more efficiently like you really do in real life. But I think what's interesting is the digital component to that is becoming more strong, because as we see that there are a lot of watches and applications that will track your movement, your pace, your heart rate, your target zones, your VO2 max, your even your recovery. How is your recovery going? So I feel like the best integration of this outdoor training will be to have some methodology of, and we see this in a lot of the United States clubs now, where when the groups are working together, they might have a TV, like a large screen, and they can see in the class how they're ranking with regard to staying in their target zone or completing certain activities, and that really motivates them. So
yeah, they can see the heart rate. I mean, the calories they are burning. I mean, all some data that could be also useful also for the trainer to
Absolutely.
manage well. I mean, the class. But in my opinion, also, of course, in this moment, especially the outdoor will give a certain sense of a safe. Because you know, when you are you train outdoor in this moment, of course you feel a little bit safer than indoor.
Yes. Well, just by the spirit of having open air, you know, so I
Yeah,
think
right.
people, and plus you may have, depending on your space, you may have a little more space to operate in. But you definitely have the vertical space. You can't
Yeah, of course,
deny
of
that you
course.
have unlimited vertical space.
Fortunately, as you know, in my club we have large green spaces. I mean, outdoor. So, in fact, in this moment, I am planning to create a new functional outdoor area, because, in my opinion, will be very, I mean, very popular, and will recall back our members, at least for the first stage of the coming back, and also for giving a new opportunity, because as you know, as you just finished to say, functional training is something that could be an additional an addition to the usual workout for any person.
Absolutely. Exciting. It's an exciting component to fitness. And although the equipment that's used is generally not as sophisticated, it's not as expensive, but that's where the trainer comes in, because you really need to have a really good coach and trainer that is putting the movements together and ensuring the participants or the athletes or the members are performing those activities correctly. They're doing it in a class or small class setting, and of course they're utilizing toys, so to speak, in a way that they may not be used to using, especially if they're used to a traditional workout with mostly sedentary or fixed equipment. Now they're working with a lot of different toys in an open space where they get to move and throw and climb and jump. And of course, this is where it becomes very interesting for a coach, in that you may have a variety of levels of fitness ability in your class. So now you have to offer 3 levels of movement. So now it's like, okay, so for those individuals that are newer to this is the movement that we are doing until you get better. And for those experts that are in that same class, if it is a variety, they're doing a similar move, but a more technical or a more advanced. So now you have,
of course.
yeah.
I mean, when you are, of course, when you are, we talk about body weight movement. Of course, there are, I mean, more ability to take in consideration. I mean, more coordination than the usual. And of course, a good trainer is the one who can give step by step. Can move. I mean, can teach you from the basic to the advanced movement.
That's right.
So, Mark,
on the fly too.
Mark, this is the time that I would like to ask you, what is your new project that you told me you described? The name is correct, MyBodyFatScan.
That's right. That's right. That's our new project. It's interesting. Our inventor is from Florence, Italy.
Really?
So yes, it is an Italian-based inventor.
Ah.
We are working closely with the inventor, and we're launching this worldwide, but focusing on the United States and Canada and Mexico and the islands. But this is interesting because the timing of this, I think, couldn't be better. The whole point, and I think that across the board, when it comes to weight management, most people don't understand that their scale weight, right? When they get on the scale and it says, I would imagine you go metric. So, 106, whatever it might be, 67 kilos or 190 pounds. a lot of people don't understand it's not the quantity of the weight, it's the quality of the weight. And if they're not tracking that consistently, they're not really understanding exactly what's happening inside their body. So what we created was a digital health picture. So this is what we call it. It's a digital health picture. It uses digital plethysmography. And our technology is different than some of the others out there, because you know that InBody has the bioelectrical impedance where you hold on to it and it scans you, and it basically gives you a feedback of your hydration status, or not, your total body water, and then they estimate your body fat from that. And then there's some new technology that you stand and the camera goes around you so you can get a 3D image. Those are all great, but you can't do those in your home. Most people don't have a expensive.
Yeah, of course, you should go in a studio where there is this kind of equipment.
So this is where it's very unique in that it only has one picture. We only need one picture from your cell phone, and it is a lateral picture, right? So if you think about when you look at yourself from a lateral position, you're going to see a lot of the curves that are important to see: your abdominal contour, your hip and glute contour, right? Your chest contour and your back. So by taking that one picture, we have been able to estimate within a very thin margin the same accuracy as dual absorption X-ray. And that was done at the University of Rome.
Okay.
So the University of Rome, there was a study that was done, 117 participants, half and half, little women to men, ranging anywhere from a BMI of 17 all the way up to, I believe, 37. So a large range of BMI. And we were able to consistently estimate body fat percentage at the level of a dual absorption X-ray assessment, which, as you know, is a medical grade assessment that these machines cost thousands of dollars and are done in Medwell offices. So very nice to see that we can have people in the privacy of their own home, have their spouse or friend, or to set up something like a little tripod on their desk and do a 10-second delay, take a picture as long as they're standing the right way, and it's going to give them their percentage body fat, their amount of weight body fat, their percentage lean mass, their weight lean mass, their hydration status. It's going to give them their belly fat, because we can see contour wise. So now we can see and we can approximate how much fat is actually being stored in their belly, which is something that's very unique.
Yeah, you mean you're talking about the visceral fat?
Yes. So we're looking at, well, obviously we're looking at estimating the total fat that's stored in the belly. And we know that some will be subcutaneous, some will be just beneath the skin, but we also know that fat is stored also around the organs for protection. So we also can gather basal metabolic rate, and we can make calculations based off of their activity level. So how much do you move? So we can quickly determine how many calories they should be eating, depending on
sorry if I interrupt you. When you do this kind of a photograph, it gives you body fat and body lean mass, and also give you also the metabolism rate.
Yes, and measurements. So now we don't do circumference measurements. So this is a retraining. We could, if we took one more picture, if we took a forward picture and a side picture, we could estimate circumference. But because we want to keep it simple, we're taking a side picture only. But what we're looking at is lateral diameter. So from the scapula to the front of the chest is a certain amount of lateral diameter. Now, of course, if you get stronger, that's going to get bigger. If you lose mass, it's going to get smaller. Same thing for the waist and the abdominal. We're looking at lateral diameter. So we're looking at exact change, not estimate of change. And if you increase or decrease your lateral diameter, say in your abdominal region, your belly, if you decrease that by, say, 3 or 4 or 5 centimeters, well, that's a lot larger decrease circumference wise. So it's really a nice way to get exact changes in your lateral diameter measurements as well. And we measure in a precise place every time. It's not like we know that height of the measurement, because of the way we do the picture, is always exactly in the same place.
Okay, Mark. So, I mean, you discovered, I mean, with your test, you discovered that your kind of measurements, it's pretty close to the one used with very expensive and accurate measurements.
Absolutely, in the medical facility, because most DEXA scans, dual absorption X-ray scans, are done in the medical setting. And a lot of times they're doing it because they're looking at also bone density. They're looking at this person might need, they have osteopenia or osteoporosis, and we're looking to see how well are their bones gaining strength. But it also by default shows the breakdown of body fat and lean mass. So we're able to calculate within very close correlation the results that you're getting from DEXA.
Wow, pretty cool. I will do for sure.
Yes, it's fun.
I'm very curious. But so for the people that is listening us, how they can join this kind of a process. I mean, they have to go to your website, I guess.
Absolutely. Right now we have our basic scan site, which is called MyBodyFatScan.com. They can actually go to that site, create a user account, and the scans are per use. So you can purchase a single scan or a bundle. We don't recommend, as you know, from a fitness professional standpoint, there is no need to do a scan more frequently than every 3, 4, 5 weeks. At least we say you once a month is probably a good idea. So every single month tracking. And just note for all of Steve, your followers, all of your, so we have a coupon code, and we'll call it the we'll say the SM as a Stefano Marini 50, SM50. I'll put it in today, and that will give everyone 50% off because of you. So they can go to SM50 and they can get 50% off of their scans.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark. It's pretty cool because when you describe me this kind of new services, I went on the website and I made a little bit of research because this kind of technology, photographic, was I mean, it was like also 7 years ago. But I guess as any technology, you now are at the very it was upgraded technology. I mean, it started maybe 7 years ago, but now I guess it's more sophisticated and more accurate.
Yes, that's a good question too. And we, the inventor and our chief science officer, Hank Lukoski, he is a PhD from Penn State University. He has been in research for 40 years in this space, and they have done some phenomenal research. And of course, once we started speaking to them, we also, from our perspective, right, from being in the field, right, we're in the trenches of fitness, we said, hey, this could be much more applicable if these adjustments were made to how you're gathering the information. So we didn't change, obviously, the patented technology, the algorithms, the math. That's for the intelligent inventors and doctorate and PhDs do. But we said this would be a lot easier to use this for a trainer, for a person in their home, and we really were able to make it more functional, like the user experience better.
So because in my opinion, these kind of things, especially if you, you offer this kind of service to the common people, the secret also is that good technology, but has to be very simple for the user.
That's right.
To understand and to use. And I guess before or after you will put this in an app, because it could be also a nice idea.
Absolutely. And the way that we've structured it is you can go to the URL, and it is a mobile friendly website. So as you notice, when you sign in, it says click here to pin to homepage. If you just click that button, it will actually add the icon to your phone, and you don't have to actually go through the App Store.
Nice.
So it really means that you can interact with the web version just like an app. Just pin the icon to your homepage, and when you go to your phone, you'll see the icon. You can click on it. You can log in just like an app, and then it feels like an app when you're on your phone. And we do recommend everyone to use their phone or their tablet when they're using this. Not to use, the only reason you would use your computer is if you just wanted to just track your results over time, and it's easier for you to look at
absolutely.
it. But use your phone.
because the phone is also the one that allows you to make the picture, and I mean, which is the basic, the fundamental of this service.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
We call it high tech. We call it high tech, no touch, right? Which is essentially what probably is a good thing for these days with the environment
anyway,
we're
it
in.
was it surprised also very much also to me, this kind of a new technology, because I mean, for me in Italy, it is a really breaking news to have this kind of scan from a photo, and not having a bioimpedantiometer machine or a plicometer, and so very good. I mean, bravo, Mark.
Thank you. We're excited. Thank you for the questions. You can probably hear my excitement, because I do feel that this is something that we're reinventing people's paradigm shift on. Hey, how do I manage my weight? And if I can look month over month at how my body is changing from the inside out with one picture, that really changes the game for coaches like you.
Absolutely, because this will be, knowing this service, which is very quick and easy, will, in my opinion, will create for sure more education and more culture in the people, and knowing that they can is like a circle. They know better about the body composition, so they could start to know a little bit better also how to eat, how to train for transform the the quality of your body, and not the quantity, as you told me.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'll leave you with on this is, we expect, and we are welcome with open arms coaches and trainers and nutritionists and people that are in the wellness and fitness space to partner with us. We would very much like for them to utilize this resource with their clients, and there's an opportunity for them to do it, whether they're working face-to-face or virtually. So we expect a lot of trainers to integrate this, and coaches to integrate this into their practice, because it's so user-friendly.
Cool. And maybe also you mean big chains of and company in fitness could be your partner.
Absolutely. We're not we don't want to limit ourselves at all. We just want to provide value, and we want to give them something that's unique and that they can really expand. And just as you mentioned, it's all about, what do you do with the information? As far as okay, now that I know that I have this much lean mass, this much body fat, this is my basal metabolic rate, these are my measurements, this is potentially the amount of fat that I'm storing in my abdominal region, which is really important. You want to get rid of that, because as you know, that leads to belly fat is much more dangerous than general fat stored over. It usually points to metabolic disease and diabetes. And so now that you have it, what do you do with it? Well, that's where your coach comes in and really can drill down and say, we need to do this.
Yeah,
this,
because it creates, a positive movement, in the sense that I know my situation. Now I will go to the coach to ask how can reduce the fat, how can I increase my my bone density, how can I make more lean mass. And so something that could be for sure good for the health and for the culture.
Absolutely. One last thing on that is, because of the measurements, we do chest and waist and hips and thigh and calf. So if you think about the aesthetics component, some members will say, well, now that I'm getting leaner, how do I make my glutes look a little bit firmer, a little better, or my chest a little bit bigger? That's where the trainer can actually program and say, well, we need to increase the volume on your hip extension activity. So we want to activate your glute muscles more, or we want to activate your pectoralis or your lat muscles more, and we can really start sculpting. So obviously the application initially is for health and wellness, and making sure that you have the appropriate amount of muscle to maintain strength around the, strength and lean mass, to make sure you're not looking at being more susceptible to cardiovascular disease or hypokinetic disease, high blood pressure, metabolic disease, diabetes, all those things are important. But then you look at the aesthetics. Well, how do I sculpt my body? And then now scan over scan over scan, you and the trainer, you and your coach can say, we need to increase or decrease this type of fitness and strength activity because of the way that it's sculpting your body, which is also, you know, people like to look good as well.
Absolutely. Okay, Mark, I think that we covered a little bit all our topics that we wanted to discuss. And I mean, I hope, and for sure, we said something that could be very interesting for the audience, especially in our field. And we will listen for sure each other in the next future, and I'm sure with the more positive news about I mean, our industry.
Absolutely, Stefano. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for inviting me on for this interview. I've always looked forward to talking to you because you're the eminent professional. When it comes to doing things right in this space, we know that you are the professional of professionals. I call it. You are the trainer of the trainers. And knowing you for 20 years now, it's been exciting. So thank you for having me on, and all the best to you. And I look forward to speaking again soon.
Thank you very much, Mark. I have the same great respect from your experience, and it's nice to have always this confrontation between our different countries, different trends, and different culture. So it's always nice to make a relations.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Have a great rest of your weekend. God bless you and your family, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.